Welcome to Cannabis Roundup, presented by Outlaw Technology. I'm Hans Dietrich.
And I'm Brie, and each week we speak with the companies in the trenches of the seed-to-sale process.
And today we'd like to welcome Chris Council, lead brand manager for Copper State Farms in Arizona. Hey, Chris, so great to meet you and welcome.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on with you guys. Thank you for having me.
We've heard of Copper State Farms, but I know probably a lot of our listeners in other parts of the country have not. We want to learn a lot about Copper State Farms, about the new app you guys just launched for your dispensary chain, Soulflower. But to get started, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into cannabis.
Yeah, I'd love to. My background is, I think, very similar to a lot of marketers. I got into cannabis, at a young age as a teenager, kind of just getting some grams off the street, right? Low price, little seedy, but fell in love with the product. And as I got older, tried to figure out how to grow it, in our own house, in our own closets, just trying to figure out a way to, save some money. And marketing came into my life as I grew as a professional and found myself creating stories on the brand side. And I was like, you know what? I have a huge passion for this. Let's see if I can get my nose or stick my foot in the door. And I found my way in cannabis into Sunday Goods, which is a dispensary in Arizona.
Did you grow up in Arizona?
Born and raised. I'm one of the few locals we have left here, but yes, sir.
Awesome. It's like where I live, Florida. Nobody's from Florida originally. So same thing in Arizona.
Yeah, we have a lot of transplants definitely here now. Midwest people just coming here, but yeah, born and raised here and found myself just in the depths of marketing and wanted to pursue my passion. So stuck my nose into Sunday Goods and got on there and left Sunday Goods and found myself at Copper State.
Copper State's grow facility, Brie and I know, is huge. But how are you growing there? Are you growing in glass houses? Is it outdoor, indoor? What's the cultivation facility like?
Yeah, we're definitely under glass here at Copper State. We have a little over 1.7 million square feet of canopy, really 40 acres that were under glass. It's a beautiful site, and we're just continuing to grow quality at size, which is something that we are proud of at Copper State.
Are you guys like the biggest employer in Snowflake?
Yes, we are. I had a little over 500 jobs currently. And that includes not only up in Snowflake, but down in the valley with our 9 Soulflower locations.
Is that the only grow facility you have in Arizona, and you're supplying all of your dispensaries, and I guess you're wholesaling too? Everything's coming right out of Snowflake.
Correct. From seed to sale, we do wholesale. We do our 9 Soulflower locations, but that is the one beautiful spot that provides it all.
Excellent. And I know you wanted to talk about the latest development you guys have done at Copper State for your dispensaries, a new app. Tell us about that. How's it work? And is it like the first in the nation that you know of?
So Copper State Soulflower, we know a lot about our customers. And as we move as not only a society and technology, but you realize that your demographics are on mobile all of the time, right? I think when we look at our demographics, over 80+% are on mobile devices. And the kind of king of that is iOS right now with Apple devices. And then kind of below that is Android with Android devices. We were missing something at Copper State Soulflower. And that was a way for people to just get off our website and more onto the mobile app. So we launched the Soulflower dispensary app in July with a soft launch. There are a few dispensaries in Arizona that do have their own apps. We felt that, it was time for us to give our customers a better user experience. It's so far going pretty well.
And it's tied in with your POS and everything else?
Correct. Tied in with our POS, all of our brands that we've been working with for the last 5 years or so. We gave them a facelift on the app. We made them more creative, made it more unique with looking at specific promotions. We've done a lot with this app in a short time. And, in about a month or so, we're going to roll out a few more programs with it. So we're really excited on our side.
What's the best feature that you've seen? How is that helping not just Copper State, but the brands and the customer? What's the feedback been from your customers?
It's much easier to use this app than our own website. I think that's one of the biggest things. A customer gets our email, they go through, and then you click on a specific deal, you go straight to the website. Well, now, instead of doing that, and we love when people look at our emails, right? We love that. But when you have the app, instead of having to go through a whole email or a whole text, you get a push notification that says, today's a Copper State BOGO, or today we have 2 for $30 rosin gummies. And then it comes right to you as a notification. So you click that notification, you go in, you browse the app, you look for a specific product, you add to cart, you go pick it up at the store. It's so much quicker than what you would normally do on the website.
Well, and that's what you want as a consumer, right? You want convenience, you want to know. And look, in cannabis, I think we're all aware, there's an uphill battle as we educate our consumers on what even specific products are. So again, having that ability to just go right to consumer and educate and offer deals. And, it's going to incentivize people to try things they might not necessarily know to even go into a store and ask for.
Exactly. And the best thing that I think what we've been missing additionally from not only this app is that we have now launched with the app our loyalty program. Again, it's a soft launch, but while you use the app, you're able to get double your points on specific products that we offer at Soulflower. So we're starting to incorporate more third-party brands in our house brands as well through the app. And we're seeing a good feedback not only from the consumers, but our bud tenders as well.
As we know, Arizona's, market, as with all states, is always in flux and changing. One thing I feel like people don't think about is, if you're at the grow, it takes 120 days to produce a product, right? So if there's a strain or if there's a, certain genetic line that you notice are, is selling better down, at the consumer side, you get the heads up to put more clones in the ground, right?
Exactly. So that's something that we're going to try to do here as we get into the fall months is when we know we have a strain coming down that is, high tester. It's a beautiful looking flower. We're going to start to feature it on the app as well because we have the ability to swap headers in and out. So when you're looking for specific promos and we have something that we know is going to, maybe it's a half ounce that's just going to sell quick. We're going to throw that onto the app, have a nice, beautiful photo of it. You click it, you go, you add to cart, boom, you're ready to go. And so it really, not only the people on the ground at the grow, they're growing such beautiful flower now that we're able to just showcase that and then just get it to our customer as soon as possible.
And are you getting the metrics from the app and from your POS so you see, okay, this is selling kind of like vendor managed inventory. So hey, this is our top seller. We're going to start planting more of this. We need to get more of this out there. And I know it sounds like you're buying wholesale as well from other growers and producers in Arizona. Are you providing them with any feedback from the app?
So exactly. We're able to see all the metrics kind of on specific flower, vapes, carts, whatever it may be. And then what we do is that, say we see that, maybe a strain, Baby Jokers, for example, is selling really well. We communicate with our farm team, said, hey, this strain is doing well. Our DC, do we have this coming on the pipeline? We just make sure that something is available at all times that is hitting well. And then we kind of go back and look at our product roadmap and say, okay, you know what, from a flower standpoint, this did really well in these quarters. From a vape standpoint, this did really well. And there's just that constant communication of saying, okay, we know this is going to do well. How can either A, we have it available, or B, make it better the next time when the season is right? So there's just that constant communication. And from a wholesale standpoint, because we have Copper State, for us, we don't really have to communicate outside our own box. We provide a lot of that for other third-party dispensaries, but it's just as long as we're communicating and we're understanding what our customers are actually, perusing, shopping, and just communicating about, it makes our jobs much easier than it used to.
We'd love to see new technologies come out. We're a technology company as well, and specifically in supply chain and inventory and, of course, compliance because it's cannabis. But it sounds like finally, and we've been saying this since we've been in the cannabis space for going on 6 years now, the cannabis industry is starting to catch up to some of the other industries. So you're actually being able to forecast better of what you need to grow so that you can have it in the stores, the top sellers, etc. So, Mike, that begs the next question. Are you guys going to keep the app solely for Soulflower's use, or are you thinking of possibly taking it and making the app available to other cannabis companies, licensees in other states?
The systems part always makes me laugh. I think cannabis is getting there. We're close, right? I think in a perfect world, everything integrates together. And, it's almost like maybe a healthcare system that knows what they're doing, or just a different CPG company that understands kind of the end consumer's needs, the whole
Our healthcare system doesn't work here either. None of them talk to each other, as we know.
Exactly.
So maybe we'll get better in the weed industry. Who knows?
That's the goal, right? It's an interesting question. I think Soulflower itself, we are very communicative and open to relationships in the cannabis space. But I think for the app itself, we'll probably keep it to, the products that we do have on our shelves and stuff that we grow. And we'll invite the third-party cannabis leaders that are in Arizona, and we'll sell their product. We'll feature their product. We'll make it look beautiful. And we'll probably keep the app kind of how that is.
Chris, I'd like to ask you, how is the industry doing in Arizona? As most of our listeners know, everything's very segmented. Every state's different. What are you guys seeing in Arizona as far as the market strength?
It's an ebb and flow. Cannabis here in Arizona. There's the peaks, there's the valleys. Right now, we're coming off I'll just say a dry summer, for lack of a better phrase. Something that we're learning as the market starts to settle down after year. And we're starting to understand better that, as a local, a lot of people here, they're traveling a lot in the summer. Our college students are going away. So we have to be more creative with our deals. We have to be more creative with, our creative, right? To attract people that are here in 115-degree weather, and then stock up, get ready for the fall that really brings in a lot of traffic. A lot of, the students are coming back. The snowbirds are here because they don't want to freeze their ass off, right? So they're here, they're enjoying Arizona. So for us, it's almost like if you look at it two ways, you have to have two different strategies, right? The summer months, you have to be very lean and creative, kind of pick your spots, right? And then as you get towards, the winter, fall, and spring, that's where you can really bring out the big guns and unload all your creative, your plans, your strategies to drive as much traffic as humanly possible, because we do have that ebb and flow, that back and forth that we deal with the summer months.
Arizona is not a metric state. We operate primarily in metric states. We do have some customers in Arizona as well. So we're not as familiar with Arizona's industry and market as we are all the other states. Just to give us an idea, what are you looking at, like price per pound right now, if you know, and what are you seeing the consumers go for the most? Are they going for flower? Are they going for carts? You said you had to be creative in the summer months.
I'll just preface this when we're looking at the Arizona market. In the Phoenix Valley, right? Yeah, you have millions of possible shoppers here. You're looking at 150 plus dispensaries that are all trying to carve their own niche. They're trying to fight for ground here. And then you break that in half. You go down to Tucson, and you have around, I think in the teens as far as how many locations are down there. We have 4 locations down there compared to our 5 that are up in the Phoenix Valley. But when you look at it, they're completely different markets. Your average cart is completely different in Tucson. It's a bit lower than you would see in the Valley. And so really, your consumers, when you spread it out in Arizona, you have to be a little more conscious when you're marketing down in the Tucson area where the University of Arizona is, because you're not going to spend as much. You're looking at the 40 to 50s as far as your average cart. When you come up to the Valley, that's where you see an increase. And then as far as product goes, we see eighths move a lot. We see vapes move a lot. If you have a high testing half ounce, you're going to see movement there, right? Especially if it's priced in the 50 to 60s, you're going to see a lot of buy-in for that. And even for us, when we look at a half ounce, it's high testing. I think we had a 32% the other day, Gastropop number 4. We saw something unique that we normally wouldn't. We saw our older audience, what people, like the classified snowbirds, essentially, they were purchasing that higher testing half ounce, which is unique to us. We haven't seen that before. So we're starting to see little nuances pop up in different flower. But, your big guns are selling. extracts are a little low, but, we're trying to be more creative there with different launches. But that's kind of what the market looks like here currently.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but in my perspective, Arizona has a tough market, right? We have a lot of states, especially, with the East Coast, being a little slower with the rollout legalization than the West Coast. You guys don't have neighboring states that people are, traveling to Arizona to buy product. You guys are surrounded by, Nevada, California, Colorado, up, in your corner, so you don't have the same luxury as other, kind of first on the market states where you get the neighboring consumers.
And all the dispensaries are on the border.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. All dispensaries are on the borders, and they all get the the added benefit of basically covering 2 states. Arizona, of course, is you guys, like you're saying, have to be more strategic. You got to be more direct to consumer, and that's interesting though to hear that the older population, the snowbirds, are going for the the products you're going for. I always, I think of the snowbirds in my life, and they're more edible people. They're more. I want gummies and chocolates,
Yeah, and we do have, I got to throw this out there because we have a location in Sun City, Arizona. That's predominantly older, right? We have a classroom there at that location. It's a beautiful spot, and that's where we see the majority of our senior clients. They come in there and they take education classes on Cannabis 101 and a few other things that we offer. And yes, 100%, we see normally edibles, right? That's kind of what they're looking for, something that helps them sleep at night. Recent, last month, we've seen this high tester just go off the shelves with them. It's something unique and that we're really excited about.
Maybe you got a new influx of people moving there, we're the Woodstock crowd. I love that you have a classroom there and you're doing education. That's one of the things we bring up a lot on this show and that we run into when we're out at trade shows and meeting with clients. There just isn't enough of it. People don't realize that you don't always just have to go for the highest THC testing flower or product, but so much of it, if not all of it, it actually is tied to the terpenes and how they interact. So I love that you're doing education for the seniors.
Huge things for us is we're evolving as a dispensary, and we've had the classroom for a few years out there, and we have wonderful people who do kind of head that, but we're evolving as, it doesn't always have to be a high tester. The terps that go into a lot of this flower can really change, your effect on a lot of what you're smoking or, ingesting. And it's something that we're adding to our menus, not only on our website, but on the app as well as we kind of progress is, what terps are in this, how do they make up this whole strain? What are you going to really be feeling? And is there something that you need to worry about? Maybe you have any, interactions, with specific product. We're trying to make sure that the consumer's experience fits everything that they're looking for.
That's fantastic. So Chris, what's next for Copper State? What are you guys looking, what's going to be different about you guys in the next 5 years? Were you guys looking to expand or move either?
I think there's a few things that we're looking at, just to be transparent. Copper State, as a company, we've kind of been sitting and watching, right? Reviewing, looking at the market, looking at our competitors and saying, okay, what can we be better at? How can we grow, right? Obviously, expansion is in our future. I think it's in a lot of the dispensaries around here's future. Making sure, though, that it's the correct move and not just, wasting money and really our end consumer's day, but making sure we're growing in the right areas of Arizona. But I think with cannabis, we all understand that there's multiple consumers, right? You have your clientele that really like the hype kind of creative aspect that brings them through the doors, some like different effects. But for us at Copper State, we're noticing similar to other kind of sectors of businesses that we need to create, limited availability, but seasonality as well to drive a lot of traffic. So what you're going to see later on this year from us is, very unique strains that are really mirroring kind of what season you're in. I think for Copper State, we have such beautiful flower now at a high quality at this huge scale that we can unload a lot of unique products for people to come into the store and say, oh my gosh, this actually tastes like hot chocolate, or this actually tastes like, candy cane, something like that really says, I got to go there and get more. I got to bring my friend, stuff like that.
That's so cool. I read that your Sun City store, you've got like a dispensary cafe concept. So are they actually allowed to consume on the premises?
Currently, no, we're not allowed to consume on the premises. It's something that we are working on. We've had the Soulflower Cafe in the past. We like to interconnect that cafe with the classroom, since we do have an older audience there. You can come, take a class, get a cup of coffee, interact, build a community, right? Because there is that thing as you get older, you love the socialization and the community aspect. And that was one of the main, pushes or investments for the cafe itself. But as we grow as a business, as really a cannabis community, it's something that we're looking at legally to be able to do. We're just kind of trying to find that right hole to get through to make sure we can.
Yeah, I like to have it in California. I've been to consumption lounges there, and we've all seen seniors hanging out, getting coffee at McDonald's. I think it would be way more fun to do it at the Sun City store.
The content that is sitting there waiting to be opened is, I think it's otherworldly almost, because just, getting someone's background, their story, why they got into cannabis, how it really impacts and helps their, I think is just waiting to be opened up, especially people are so, when you get them at that vulnerable state of just really speaking their truth, I think there's so much opportunity there.
It's amazing to me because I was in the Army years ago, and all of my mentors were like the guys, in the Vietnam era. Before they started testing, most of these guys were high like the whole time they were serving. And when I was in, it was, you get tested constantly, so you never got to use it. But now I call up some of my friends who are now like in their early 70s and stuff, and some older. Every time I call them, they're like, "Oh, I'm smoking a bowl." Like all the time, but a lot of them are doing it for pain management. Some of these guys have PTSD. It helps with that. So I think that the senior market is a fantastic market, actually. And luckily over the past, I don't know, I guess decade or so, cannabis has just become much more widely accepted and basically acceptable in society now. It's everywhere.
It really is. And that's something that we're looking at as we used to walk through our doors. And I kind of chuckle when I say this, especially on 420. Our bud tenders will be like, "Oh, the boomers are here." And it's like, yeah, they are. But you know what? They're changing the way they're coming in now. They're being more open. Weed is more acceptable in their kind of circles. And it's great because our knowledge really comes from, for lack of a better word, our elders, right? And that's where we kind of get our history and understanding of, they were in the Vietnam War, or maybe they were in, as we even get older, Desert Storm, wherever it is, wherever it was, it opens so much. And it's something that we can all learn from, at my stage of my career. It's like, I want to learn why they're coming in to smoke more. I want all this education, because even as someone who works in the day to day, you can learn from anyone that comes in, and they can give you their perspective, and it can really change how you're really impacting your customers. There's just so much opportunity there.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. So to download your app, where do people go? Just to the App Store or Google Play?
App Store currently today, and then in the next few weeks, we'll be launching on the Google Play Store for Android.
Excellent. And it sounds like you're already getting a lot of great metrics that help you serve your consumers better. And what are the loyalty points like? You mentioned them earlier. So how do they build up? And you're actually able to offer discounts in Arizona. Some states don't allow that, obviously.
Yeah, and I'll preface this because I love being transparent. We're getting good feedback and great feedback. So when something's wrong, right? So that's the one thing about the cannabis consumer is they will reach out right away and be like, "Hey, this shit isn't working," or "Something's wrong here." So we're getting all great feedback from our retail teams and our customers that are coming in. But the loyalty program, points per purchase. So every purchase you get a point. The best thing about it is, we're trying to model this similar, after like Xbox and PlayStation, is that you'll have double XP weekends, you'll have triple, just depending maybe on holidays or just a weekend. We're trying to really get people in the store. But then for Jukebox and Copper State products, every purchase that you make is double points. So regardless if it's a pre-roll or if it's a half ounce or it's an extract or whatever it may be, double points on Copper State or Jukebox products. And all of our promotions are discounts, all there through the app. We can do that in Arizona, so you can kind of see what you're getting. It's really exciting for us because that's one of the few things we've been missing at Soulflower is a loyalty program. And the cool thing about this, once you get to 100 points, you get $5 off. Once you get to 200, you get 10. You have those, right? You make your way all the way up. But one of the coolest things is if you get to 10,000 points, you're going to get reached out to by me. So I'll reach out to this consumer and I will personally invite you up to Snowflake to see Copper State Farms. Currently, there are no trips up to Copper State. You can't make an appointment to take a tour. But if you get to 10,000 points, I reach out to you. You bring a guest. We bring you up, put you up for the night at our Airbnb that we have up there. All expense paid trip. You get to go through the entire farm. You get a goodie bag. You get a nice, beautiful dinner. And you can take as much photography content as you would like.
Well, that is awesome. I wish I lived in Arizona. And the app is called, what's it called? Soulflower or Live with
Soulflower Dispensary.
Okay, Soulflower Dispensary. So on that note, what are your other social media sites, website, so people can learn more about Copper State, Jukebox, and obviously Soulflower?
Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter. Soulflower is our handle there, or on X, I should say, now that we've changed that.
X.
It makes me feel like I'm talking about an X-Men or something. But that's kind of where we're at currently. We have a love-hate relationship with Facebook, Instagram. I think everyone in cannabis does.
Everybody in cannabis does. We keep, we've been blocked too. So, yeah.
So just the other day, we were taken down. Interesting world that we live in. So you can't show cannabis, but you can show something else. So it's a funny world we live in.
It's an insane world. I mean, cannabis users are typically the most easygoing people. When you talked about people complaining, you find out right away. I was going to say they're probably at least nice about it because they're cannabis users.
Yeah, we do get some funny ones. They're like, hey, something's wrong here. Just wanted to let you know. Every bad day, we completely get that and support that, and that's why we're here. I will say though, if there's something that's not working correctly on our side, if you experience something that you just had, hey, that's not cool at Soulflower, we're going to help you out there. We're going to hook you up. We're going to say, that's on us. Come into the store. We got some product for you because we want your experience to be one that, you want to come back. You want to invite your mom, your friends. You want to tell your family about us. So we have some unique responses, but we want to make sure you're taken care of for sure.
That's awesome. I warned you before we started that we ask every guest this question. And Brie, why don't you do the honors?
Of course. So, Chris, we're from Outlaw Technology, so we always like to ask our guests, who is your favorite outlaw? Whether they be fictional, real life, someone only you know personally. We are always curious to hear.
Jesse James.
That's a good one and a popular one.
Yeah.
I think the first one that pops in your head, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Just like when you're taking a multiple choice test, right? The first one that pops in your head is usually the right one. Anyway, our guest today has been Chris Counsell of Copper State Farms, Soulflower, Jukebox. And Chris, thank you so much for being on Cannabis Roundup.
Oh, I appreciate you guys having me. And if you're ever in Arizona and you want to go up to our grow, send me an email, text, whatever, and we can get that scheduled and get you guys up there so you can experience the high quality flower in Arizona.
Brie, we should extend our stay in Las Vegas when we're at MJ BizCon and go down there. It sounds like we should definitely. I want to see the purple sky.
The beacon of Snowflake.
Exactly. Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you have any questions you'd like us to ask on our show about compliance, metric, automation, or anything related to cannabis, please email them to us at info@outlawtechnology.net. You can download past episodes of our program by going to outlawtechnology.net, cannabisradio.com, or the Cannabis Radio app for iTunes and Google Play, as well as subscribing to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, YouTube, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts from. Thanks for listening, and be well.